Hello everybody, here a new video from Rene from Spain, and in this video I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite bands during the 90s. Because we all know that during the 90s, like especially after 93, a lot of bands changed style, or a lot of bands just split up and later they came back together years later, some of them. But this band, Riot, they stayed true to heavy metal, to classic hard rock. And they made some amazing albums with Mike DiMeo. Mike DiMeo was an amazing vocalist for this band, and he was in the band for quite a long time. I think he came in the band at the end of 92, and then first they released the Nightbreaker album. That's a great release from 1993. In Japan, I think it came out in 93, and in the US too, but in Europe it came out in 94. A killer release. Then they released in 1995 in Japan, in 96 in Europe, The Brethren of the Long House. So many good songs on this too. I should name a couple of songs of each album. For example, I love Glory Calling, Rain, the title track, Blood of the English, and Holy Land. And they did a great cover song by Gary Moore, Out in the Field. There's obviously a classic. Great. And about this album, I love Soldier is an amazing song. Destiny is a great song. In Your Eyes, Nightbreaker. So many great songs on here. Then they released in 1998 Inishmore. And here we have Angel Eyes on here. Liberty. Liberty is a great song. Kings Are Falling. That's also a great song. Or Should I Run? It's just a great album again. From 1997 in Japan and 1998 in Europe. Then they released a live album in 1998. And this is really a good representation of the 90s stuff, on here. But also they played Thunder Steel, for example, and Sword and Tequila from the early days of Riot. And it's just also an outstanding live album. Then they did Sons of Society, and this came out in 1999. Check the great power ballads, Cover Me, with that. He sounds quite a lot like Tony Martin on that song. Just great. Sons of Society, Dragon Fire, On the Wings of Life. I have so much respect for Riot because they stayed true to this music, like I said. Like Virgin Steel, they did the same thing. They never betrayed metal, if we say it that way. They just did what they liked to do, and they went on, and they didn't care if this music was popular or not. Then they released Through the Storm in 2002. Check the song Lost Inside the World, for example. And then the last album they released, and this should have been released already in 2003, but it was not released till 2006, but was recorded in 2003. They should have come out in 2004. But in 2004, Mike, the vocalist, he left the band. And then this came out in 2006. Good. These are the albums with this amazing vocalist. And but I'm going to tell you my favorite Riot albums. And my favorite Riot album ever is Thunder Steel. This is my favorite album from 1988. My favorite Riot album. Will be the first one. The second, maybe it will surprise some of you guys, but it's Nightbreaker from 93. Amazing album. And on the third position, I would put Born in America. Nowadays, the bands go under the name of Riot 5, let's say. And this was the last Riot album with Mark Reum when he died. This was the last album with him. And actually here we have Tony Moore, that was the vocalist on Thunder Steel. He came back in the band and he made this album Immortal Soul. Also, this is quite a cool release, a tribute to Riot, with a lot of cool bands like Axel Repel, Attacker, Stallion, Night Demon, Crystal Viper, October 31, making a tribute to Riot. This is also a very cool release, only released in Japan. It was a best of. Greatest hits 78, 90. I also have, of course, The Privilege of Power from 1990. This is quite similar as Thunder Steel. Not as fast, and it has some strange instruments like saxophone and stuff like that. Quite an experimental album, but still heavy metal. Riot always did heavy rock, heavy metal. You know, like this is more like heavy rock stuff. This is Rock City. Great song, Rock City. Warrior is of course a classic. And this is everything I want to show about Riot. And of course here you can see some records too. Okay, check out 90s Riot. Check that out. I mean, it's amazing. It's great that they're going on under Riot 5, you know. And yeah, just a band that should have been much and much bigger. I think everybody agrees with that. Okay, stay metal, everybody.